This is Srikanth signing in for Contracts 1. In our previous classes, we are discussing about the conditions which are essential for an contract. So yesterday we were discussing about one condition, that means terms must be certain. So the terms and conditions of the contract should be clearly furnished in the agreement without any ambiguity or vagueness. The terms of the contract must be clear and certain. Yesterday we have seen one example, that means A offers B to supply 100 tons of oil. In that example, it's not a contract. Why? The terms of offer are not clear, since the nature of the oil, it is not mentioned, whether it is a coconut oil or groundnut oil, whatever it may be. Unless and until the terms of the contract are clear without any ambiguity or vagueness, then only it can be termed as a contract and it can be enforceable. There is one case law is there, very famous case law, Taylor versus Portington. Taylor versus Portington. Here, in this case, A is there. A promised to take B's house for a lease. For how many years? 3 years. A is telling to B, I will take your house for lease for 3 years, but you have to repair and the drawing rooms should be decorated according to the present style. That's what A said to B. A said to B, I am going to take your house for lease for a period of 3 years, but you have to repair it and you have to decorate the drawing rooms according to the present style. Now, in this case, the contract between A and B is not enforceable. Why? The terms are very vague and uncertain. Present style means, what is the present style? It is not specifically mentioned. So, whenever you are entering into a contract, the terms must be clear, certain, and not vague. That's what the Privy Council held in Taylor versus Portington. Again, I am reiterating the case law. A promised to take B's house for a lease for a period of 3 years, provided it is thoroughly repaired and the drawing rooms are decorated according to the present style. So here present style means it may be anything. So it is not clear. So it was held to be not enforceable, since the terms are too vague and uncertain. So now we can come to a conclusion that the terms of the contract must be clear, certain, without any ambiguity. If it is ambiguous or vagueness, the contract is not valid and enforceable. Lastly, last condition is possibility of performance. So it is another essential condition for the validation of the contract, that is possibility of performance. It is one of the essential elements of a contract, that is possibility of performance. That means if A enters into a contract with B, it should be able to performance the contract. That means A is able to perform the contract as well as B is also able to perform the contract. If the performance of a contract is impossible, it is void. In other words, impossibility of performance renders the contract void. If you analyze Section 56 of the Indian Contract Act, it says that an agreement to do an act impossible itself is void. That means whenever two persons are entering into a contract, both should be capable of performing it. Even if one person is unable to perform the contract, then the contract is void. You cannot enter into an agreement to do an act which is impossible. Otherwise, an agreement to do an act impossible itself is void. Let us take an example. A contract to construct a building within 2 days. Is it possible to construct a building within 2 days? No. For example, A and B are there. A tells to B, if you run 100 miles per hour, I will pay you 1000 rupees. Both enter into a contract. Now the question arises is whether is it possible for a person to run 100 miles per hour? Subsequently, answer is no. That means they are entering into a contract which is impossible to perform. Impossible contracts are unenforceable, right? So, in our previous classes, we have analyzed all the essential elements of a contract under section 10. To constitute a contract, certain conditions ought to be satisfied, namely two parties, consensus ad idem, capacity to contract, free consent, lawful consideration, legal relationship, lawful object, terms must be certain, and possibility of performance. We have seen all the 9 conditions in detail, namely two parties offer and accept or consensus ad idem, identity of minds or meeting of minds, capacity to contract, that means he should be a major sound mind, he should not be disqualified by the law. Fourth one, free consent, consent should be free without any flaws in the contract, namely misrepresentation, fraud, so on and so forth. Lawful consideration, unlawful consideration is void, then there should create some legal relationship. Seventh one, lawful object. Eighth one, terms must be certain, and ninth is possibility of performance. So we have analyzed all the essentials of a contract. Clear, students? Now we are moving into next unit, that is kinds of contract. Let us see the contracts and their classification. On the basis of validity, contracts may be classified as 5. Number 1 is valid contract, number 2 is void contract, number 3 voidable contract, 4 unenforceable contract, 5 illegal contracts. So, contracts may be classified as valid contract, void contract, voidable contract, unenforceable contract, and illegal contract. Let us analyze one by one. Valid contract. So, from the beginning itself, we are telling about a valid contract. A contract is called to be valid if it can be enforceable in the court of law. So, contract to be valid, it has to be enforceable in the court of law. If you analyze section 2 clause H of the Indian Contract Act 1872, what it says, an agreement enforceable by law is a contract. So, an agreement enforceable by law. Again, what is the meaning of agreement? According to section 2 clause C of the Act, every promise and every set of promises forming the consideration for each other is an agreement. So, every promise and every set of promises forming the consideration for each other is an agreement. In an agreement, there must be at least two parties there must be a proposal or offer from one person or party, and there must be an acceptance from the other person or property. So, to constitute a contract, there should be an agreement enforceable by law. Let us see what it is. So to constitute a contract, two things should be there. What are they? There must an there must exist an agreement. An agreement should be enforceable by law. A contract to be enforceable, it must contain all the conditions or constituents that has been enshrined in section 10 of the Indian Contract Act. So we have analyzed section 10. All agreements or contracts, remember, all agreements or contracts, if they are made by the free consent of the parties who are competent to contract for a lawful consideration and with a lawful object, and are not hereby expressly declared to be void. So, all agreements or contracts, if they are made by the free consent of the parties competent to contract for a lawful consideration and with a lawful object, and are not hereby expressly declared to be void. So, all agreements will become contracts when these five essential elements are present, namely free consent, competent to contract, lawful consideration, lawful object, and law should not expressly declare such a contracts to be void. So, every contract is an agreement, but every agreement is not a contract. All agreements are not contracts, but all contracts are agreements. This is what that has been enshrined in the Indian Contract Act. So all agreements are contracts if they are made by the free consent of the parties competent to contract for a lawful consideration and with a lawful object, and are not hereby expressly declared to be void. Every contract is an agreement, but every agreement is not a contract. Remember, every contract is an agreement, but every agreement is not a contract. So when an agreement becomes a contract, there are certain conditions to be satisfied. Let us see what it is. So every contract is an agreement, but every agreement is not a contract. For an agreement to become a contract, certain conditions are to be satisfied. Namely, there is some consideration to contract. The parties are competent enough to enter into a contract. Their consent is free. Their object is lawful. So first one is there is some consideration to contract. If there is no consideration, there is no contract at all. No consideration, no contract. Remember. Next one is parties are competent to contract. That means they have the capacity to enter into the contract. Section 11 of the Indian Contract Act says any person is competent to enter into a contract provided he is a major. That means he should not be a minor. He is of sound mind. That means he is not of unsound mind. He is not disqualified by law in force to contract. This is known as competency to enter into the contract. Namely, he is a major, he is of sound mind, he is not disqualified by law in force to contract. Next, their consent is free. Free consent. Section 14 speaks about this. Section 14 of the Indian Contract Act defines free consent as consent is said to be free when it is not caused by coercion, undue influence, fraud, misrepresentation, and mistake. These five should be absent in a contract. Then only it can be said to be a free consent. What are they? Consent is said to be free when the following five things are absent, namely coercion, undue influence, fraud, misrepresentation, and mistake. If any one of these elements are present, then the consent is said to be not free. Lastly, object is unlawful. The object is lawful but not unlawful. So every object of the contract should be lawful, that is lawful object should be there. An agreement entered into with unlawful consideration is void. Namely, there are certain things that has been mentioned in the Contract Act. If you enter into a contract that has been forbidden by the law, or if the contract defeats any provisions of law, or if it is fraudulent, or the contract causes injury to person or property of the another, or if it is immoral or opposite to public policy, then the contract is said to be unlawful or illegal. So every contract is an agreement, but every agreement is not a contract. An agreement becomes a contract when the following conditions are satisfied, namely there is some consideration. Consideration may be adequate or inadequate, but there should be some consideration to contract. The parties are competent enough to enter into the contract, their consent is free, and their object is lawful. So this is what with respect to a valid contract. On the basis of validity, contracts may be classified as valid contract, void contract, voidable contract, unenforceable contract, illegal contract. We have seen valid contract. In our next class, we are going to analyze the remaining contracts. Have a good day. This is Srikanth signing off today.